I have been married to Linda for 5 years, and we built a life that I thought was perfect. We own a home together and we run a marketing agency with my best friend Mark, who I have known since kindergarten. Mark was the best man at our wedding and he eats dinner at our house twice a week. About 3 months ago, I came home early from a client meeting because I had a migraine, and I heard giggling coming from the master bedroom. I walked quietly down the hall and saw Mark's shoes by the door. I didn't go in. I just walked back to my car and drove to a parking lot and sat there for 4 hours shaking with rage. I wanted to storm in there and throw them both out, but I knew that we had too many shared assets, and if I acted on impulse, I would lose half my business in my house. So, I decided to play the role of the oblivious husband. I went home that night and pretended everything was normal. I asked Linda how her day was and she smiled and lied to my face without blinking. Over the next 3 months, I hired a private investigator to document everything. I got photos of them at hotels and screenshots of their texts and even video footage of them kissing in my office park. In lot, while the investigator was working, I was secretly meeting with a lawyer to separate my personal assets. And I started the process of buying Mark out of the business by triggering a clause in our partnership agreement that allowed me to purchase his shares if he engaged in unethical conduct detrimental to the company. He signed the amendment years ago without reading it carefully. Linda's 30th birthday was approaching and she had been hinting that she wanted a big blowout party with all her friends and family. I told her I would handle everything. I rented out a private room at her favorite restaurant and invited her parents and her siblings, and all our mutual friends and of course Mark. I spent thousands on decorations and food to make sure it looked like the ultimate gesture of love. When the night came, everyone shouted surprise and she looked so happy. She hugged me and whispered that I was the best husband in the world. We had dinner and drinks and then it was time for gifts. I told everyone to gather around because I had a special presentation. I connected my laptop to the big screen TV that was usually used for sports. Linda was smiling, expecting a montage of our wedding photos or a vacation trip reveal. Instead, I pressed play on a slideshow that started with the text logs between her and Mark where they made fun of me for being clueless. The room went dead silent. Then came the photos of them at the hotel, then the video from the parking lot. Linda turned white and tried to grab the remote, but I held it out of reach. Mark looked like he was going to faint. Her parents were gasping and her father actually stood up and looked at Mark with pure hatred. When the slideshow ended, I pulled a large envelope out of my jacket pocket and handed it to her. I told her happy birthday, and that inside she would find divorce papers and a restraining order against Mark regarding the business. I told Mark that under Section 4 of our partnership agreement he was fired for causing that. My lawyer would be in touch regarding the buyout price, which was now significantly lower due to the reputational damage he caused. I placed the microphone on the table and walked out of the restaurant, leaving them with the bill. I stayed at a hotel that night and turned off my phone. The fallout was nuclear. Mark tried to sue me, but the evidence was overwhelming. Linda tried to beg for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, but I refused to speak to her without my lawyer present. I am now happily divorced, and I run the agency by myself, and profits are up 20%.